New Orleans is just one of the cities in a state that has a rich history and vibrant culture, but it's also deeply vulnerable to some very destructive weather.
Senior national correspondent Justin Michaels looks at the charm and the challenges of living on the hurricane front lines.
America's 18th state is like no other in so many ways.
Whew, how much time you have for that?
It all began in 1803 when Thomas Jefferson bought much more than today's Louisiana from the French for $15 million.
And they purchased it partially for the strategic asset of the Mississippi River and New Orleans.
But the Bayou State's eccentric.
We call our Louisiana guard dog.
And beautiful uniqueness.
It's a shockingly flat landscape.
Has a downside.
First time I've ever seen water sitting in the oil center.
Louisiana is vulnerable to hurricanes for a few reasons.
The Gulf of America is small, so any storm that forms in the Gulf or passes through it is likely going to hit land within just a few days.
The Gulf is the body of water offshore of us, both spawns hurricanes itself, and also we get massive hurricanes that come in from the tropical North Atlantic.
We're a low gradient coastal zone. That basically means we're really flat. So any storm surge is going to penetrate much further inland than it might in other locations.
Even worse, 2 centuries of taming the mighty Mississippi short-circuited a natural land-building process.
Since 1932, we've lost over 2,000 square miles of land in Louisiana. So to put that into context, that's larger than the state of Delaware.
So that water just rushes in.
So your natural protection against hurricanes and other storms is washing away.
Washing away. We don't have no protection.
Wetlands act sort of like a speed bump on the surge that comes in from a hurricane as it approaches land.
Louisiana has endured 13 hurricane landfalls since 2000.
The strongest wind and rain we've seen here.
But even Louisiana's brutal hurricane history has a bright side, like stronger infrastructure.
They put in a multi-billion-dollar seawall over the last decade.
After Katrina, the federal government spent $14.5 billion on improved levees, seawalls, and floodgates in the New Orleans area.
And it actually did protect the city of New Orleans when Hurricane Ida made landfall, which was really important because it was a major system, huge storm surge, but they didn't flood.
Louisiana might be hurricane vulnerable, but communities and people here are stronger because of it.
It's in your blood, yeah. Salt water gets in your blood.
So they are not disappearing.
Thank y'all for coming.
Anytime soon.
Well, it's been nearly 20 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated Louisiana, and despite successful efforts to boost resiliency, the coast, of course, could still be at risk, guys.
Even without hurricanes,
right,
the coast is at risk.
Right.
So, and you talk to them about the changes that they've seen in their lifetime, and we don't really think about some of these big changes about happening in one lifetime.
I asked them both. I said, you know, in your lifetime, have you seen the coastline change? Are there pieces of land that were here when you were a kid and aren't here now? And they just started going into it. You see that section of land? You see that marker in the water, and you see where the land is? That all used to be land. You see out there used to be an island there. We used to play on it when I was a kid. Do you see this island? It is narrowed down to a piece of land you can't even walk on. When I was a kid, we used to play football on it. Like, I mean, those kinds of statements.
Wow.
So they, in just 30 years, have seen their entire world change right before their eyes.
So, okay, we're seeing these changes. Can we do anything to slow it down, or what is happening to slow this down?
What they're doing, and again, this is just a very, very simple stopgap, but they are taking large boulders and any land that's diminishing, they're lining that land with these large boulders, which is slowing the land loss down, but it's not stopping it. And in fact, while we were on the back of that airboat, they took us to an island that used to be whole. It's since been cut in half by the land loss, and you can see the boulders that were put in place over the years to stop it from happening are now just all laying in the water. So, it's amazing to talk to guys who were all comparable ages. We're in our mid-40s, and they, in their lifetime, again, 30 years ago, they were playing on land that is no longer there.
That is wild. You definitely don't think about these kind of things happening in our lifetime. You think about, okay, well, maybe the next generation.
Right.
But obviously, that type of mitigation that they're doing can kind of slow some of the slow changes that are happening. But for the bigger events and hazards like hurricanes, they have to have bigger solutions.
That's right. And so, and you're going to see over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to the Katrina anniversary on the 29th, the Weather Channel has done extensive reporting there on the coast. One of the big things and one of the big triumphs is the Great Wall of Louisiana. And what that is a surge barrier that is at 26.5 feet. Katrina got to 18 feet. So they say that this surge barrier will protect against the 1% storm, that storm that comes like a Katrina. Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, looking forward to hearing more about that, actually.
Yeah.
The Weather Channel will actually take a closer look at the lessons learned in the past 20 years since Katrina, coming up next week.
Hey, join us on August 24th. That is next Sunday at 8 p.m. for a look at the past, present, and future of the Gulf Coast in the wake of this historic storm.